And once again, a special thank you to the Games Master, the Tax Master, Kevin Sullivan, for joining us on the show tonight. Thank you so much, Kevin. Legend in the business. Really, really nice guy. And thank you so much for joining us on the 311th episode of the Pancakes and Powerslams show. We are live on Wrestling Inc. right now, live Facebook, ladies and gentlemen. Join us on the Facebook live stream right now. Of course, join us on Twitter as well. Hashtag Panslams. For all those who will catch this on the Wrestling YouTube page, download the show on iTunes to get the audio interview that happens in the beginning of the show every single week. Hello, Jamie. I saw people already chiming in on the live stream. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We got Fastlane, ladies and gentlemen. I was there live, so I got some live notes from Fastlane. Also took a video of some interesting and unfortunately controversial things that happened at the show. So I'm gonna give you live notes from there, and we also have Raw. We have SmackDown. Hello, Chris. Hello, Jason. Hello, everybody who's chiming in on the Facebook live stream right now. We're going to talk about Kid Rock and Hall of Fame, Jeff Hardy, Scott Hall, Bulldog, and Luger. We got trivia, of course. We got trivia. We got trivia this week from WrestleMania 12 and WrestleMania 13. So go back 20 some odd years, 22 years, 21, 22 years. Go back to WrestleMania 12 and WrestleMania 13. Get your thinking caps on, because we're going to talk about some WrestleMania 12 and WrestleMania 13 trivia for the 311th episode of the Pancakes and Powerslam show. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Just getting on here live. Flavor of the week this week, we're going to talk about title changes. Title changes from WrestleMania 1 to 6. So we're going to talk about your favorite title changes. We're going to say every single title change that happened between WrestleMania 1 and 6. And then we're going to talk about your favorite title changes between them. Ladies and gentlemen, after a hiatus for some, Chris says WrestleMania 12 is your favorite WrestleMania. Okay, pretty cool. WrestleMania 12, yeah, WrestleMania 12 was a pretty cool WrestleMania, absolutely. Thank you, Jason. Says I'm a good host. Well, spread the word. This is a 311th episode of the show. Of course, catch us live here. You were at WrestleMania 13. Good stuff. That's awesome, man. All right. Without further ado, co-host with the most. Welcome back, Evan Tech Proud. How are you tonight, sir? Awesome. Yes, absolutely. It's great to have you back. Southside Chicago Rays. All right. Chicago Rays. I've been to Chicago a bunch of times. Someone's asking if they can be the special guest. No. Thanks for your support, though. Here at the Pancakes and Powerslam show, we interview a wrestler every week. We got a really huge interview. This week was a big interview. We had Kevin Sullivan on the show. Next week, big interview. Absolutely. You said, yeah, you're owed. Well, if you were at WrestleMania 12, I guess it depends on how old you are at WrestleMania 12. If that was 22 years ago. So, if you were 10, 11, 12, we'll see. Someone's making a comment saying Bray Wyatt gets humiliated every pay-per-view. That's a good question to pose right now. Where do you think Bray Wyatt is going to be at for WrestleMania? Looks like we got the compound match, the ultimate deletion. Yes, next week on Raw. So we'll talk about where that is leading. Ladies and gentlemen, we got so much on the show tonight. So without further ado, let's get right into it. You know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's the headlines. Here we go. Got a comment saying, was that Raw? Okay. Raw last night. So boring, and everyone advertised did not appear. Rousey did not. We're going to talk about Ronda Rousey. WWE taking away. Actually, let's jump into that right now. Actually, Ronda Rousey, WWE reported her and promoted her and advertised her to be on every single Raw from here on out. That was their big pitch of saying, hey, you know what? Rousey's full-time, and, she's all about full-time, and we're going to make her on every single Raw from now on until WrestleMania. And that lasted, a week or two? So that was terrible. Yeah, it's 22. Okay, so you were 22 at WrestleMania 13, so that makes you 43, if I'm doing my math correctly. 43, that's not too old. That's not, it's not too far away from me. So, yeah, 43. That's all right. At least you're not like Terry Funk, in your late 50s and 60s in WCW, calling yourself middle-aged and crazy. So yeah. Ronda Rousey should not main event WrestleMania 34. I agree. Ronda Rousey. There's been some rumblings that the mixed tag may be the main event. I think that would be absolutely terrible. No, don't do it. Don't do it. You got four people who aren't even active wrestlers. That would be absolutely terrible. Also got a live report here from someone who was at Raw saying only 3/4 of the arena was full. Detroit is not a Chicago crowd. Yeah. So that's interesting. Thanks for that live report there. Detroit was all see funny because the night before I'm an Ohioan, proud Ohioan. So you got Money Bank tickets for Chicago, so that should be a lot of fun. I was at Fastlane. Before we get to, we're going to talk about Raw, and then we're going to talk about Fastlane real quick, and then we'll jump back into the headlines. So real quick, Ronda Rousey. I think that she's a good, and I've said this before, I think Ronda Rousey is a very, very good addition to the WWE fold. I interviewed Roddy Piper's son, Colt, a few weeks ago, and he gave Ronda Rousey the coat. So when she came in Royal Rumble, she got the coat from Colt. She got the coat from Colt, brother. And so yeah, that's awesome. Someone saying Ohio rules. Hey man, you get the clap for tonight for putting Ohio over. So you get an applause for that. Jason, good job, man. I appreciate you putting Ohio over. Another question. Oh, great state. That's right. Yeah. I've been to Maryland. I like Maryland. But Ohio, I'm going to put Ohio over because born and raised, and there's a lot of people. Yeah, there's a lot of people who are from Ohio who decides to leave Ohio to try to make it. Alexa Bliss is one of them. She's born in my home city and state. She was born in Columbus, Ohio, and she's very successful. She's probably other than the Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah, she's the most successful person who came out of Columbus, Ohio, as far as a wrestler is concerned. We'll talk about Raw too, as far as where she's going, but just real quick, just having your thoughts on Ronda Rousey. Real quick, Ronda looks like she can wrestle from the training videos. I agree with that. She looks like me. She was an amazing MMA star for so long, and the last two fights that she was in was unfortunate losses to Holly Holm and Amanda Nunes, but the 15 fights before then, she was, first round defeats. I think Miesha Tate was the only person who she didn't. She beat Miesha Tate the first time in the first round. I think the second time she beat her was in the second or third round, if I'm not mistaken. So, she had impressive. So she did her work. She trains like an animal. But at the same time, I've said this before: MMA endurance and pro wrestling endurance is two different things. So I really hope they don't main event this.
But it's to the point where it's like anywhere in the business. You never know how things are going to unfold. And if Ronda Rousey coming to WWE and there's some things that on paper looks great, then it turns out to be turns out not to turn out as good as you think.
Right.
On paper doesn't seem to go well, but it turns out better. And I think Ronda Rousey being there is a good addition, but it's just okay. I don't know if it's because the time that she came, her skin kind of went down a little bit, and it's just you clearly see that my mic skills. And I caught a couple of days when she was doing her mic work on Raw.
Oh, it was bad.
They're like, okay, we gotta stay there. They're all saying she was getting buried alive.
Yeah.
Like they're all saying that she came from WWE. She came from UFC. I mean, when you're out in front of 30,000 people, 20,000, however much WWE's gonna tell you that's there, it's a whole 180 talking UFC.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You have press conferences, you see about whatever one comment, maybe a sentence, that's it. You gotta have mic work. So to be fair with her, it's funny to us. It's like it might feel bad, and you can just tell she's just overwhelmed. And she's so tough that they keep doing this. They keep recycling these nicknames where the baddest man on a planet,
Iron Mike Tyson.
And then it's like she comes out and she starts crying.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
It's like you're the baddest woman on the planet. She's crying, but at the end of the day, it's good to see her. But it's like, okay, it's not going to have the big thing. You got the promo. But yeah, the graphic up before Brock and Reigns.
Yeah.
The moment, what's the tagline? The moment you thought will never happen. You're fooling. Maybe the people that's not interested. But we saw this happen, at the moment when you saw the stone act like never happened. And then you're 31.
Yeah.
And then he came back out like nothing happened. This is like 2-3 years in the making.
Yeah.
Who are you fooling, WWE? The way you have the promo, the moment that you never thought would happen. Come on.
Right.
We all do. I was at the moment. And you can see my face there in a couple of shots. He was in row 2 right there. And the cameraman was standing right in my face. And that's how I knew she was showing up. The cameraman is going to sit here, and there's still 2 minutes left to go.
Right, yeah. Yep.
I'm glad for her, but at the end of the day, it's after Mania, what is she going to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some potential places to put her. I mean, a lot of people say Paul Heyman, which I think would be great for her because she needs the mouthpiece, and I think Heyman would be a good mouthpiece, especially if Brock Lesnar leaves. So I definitely think that will be where she should go for sure. I got a bunch of comments here as far as what's going to main event Mania. That's a good discussion. So someone saying Taker Cena should close WrestleMania. Rousey in the main event will ruin WrestleMania. Taker Cena should close WrestleMania. I bet Brock and Roman does. The AJ Nakamura match with the Macho Steamboat match, that's a really good comparison. People saying they heard Lesnar versus Roman maybe mid-card. And then someone else saying I can't see Lesnar Reigns as a mid-card match. I agree. I mean, as far as what they're doing with Lesnar, just briefly as far as people who the discussion of the WWE salaries and, Brock Lesnar making $10 million a year. So basically, every time you see him, he's making, every time you see Brock Lesnar, he's making $500,000 basically every time you see him. So that's basically, I mean, and that's quite crazy.
Ronda Rousey, might feel like that. We all can relive Kevin Green and his mic skills in WCW.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that was quite bad. And then, oh yeah, Kevin Green's was it was quite bad. Yeah, it was bad. We don't want to think about that. Mongo's wasn't very good either. So just those football, those 80s, and 90s football players that for some reason the WCW decided to acquire those, granted, Mongo was a part of a, Super Bowl football team. But that didn't make you a good wrestler. And when they made him a part of the Horsemen, man, I said, oh man, this is all bad. Yeah.
And this is strictly from the hip. I mentioned Paul Roma. AJ Dillon looked dead at me with a before trance and bust all laughing.
Of course, but here's the thing though, JJ Dillon was not a manager during the time that Mongo was a Horseman member. So I think JJ would have had that same reaction if he had to manage Mongo and the Four Horsemen. Someone saying, I drove to Detroit for WrestleMania 23 because I knew that there was no way Cena would beat Shawn 2, and he did. I was livid. All right, here we go. First trivia question. What was the main event of WrestleMania 12? What was the main event of WrestleMania 12? Got a bunch of trivia questions tonight, so you better get your trivia ready, and we're going to do a lot. All right, so some live notes from Fastlane. There was the Breezango, the 6-man match was pretty fun. The crowd was pretty live on that one. It's, I think it was a pretty good match to set the tone. Pretty good pre-show match. Of course, both Dillinger and Breezango was pretty over from the Columbus crowd, so that was pretty fun. The opener was Shinsuke Nakamura against Rusev Day, and it was a lot of fun inside the arena because I'm not, this is personal here. I am not a fan of the whole Rusev Day thing at all. 10 million. Yeah. 10 million. Yeah, that's how much. People talking about Moolah. Yeah, we'll talk about Moolah. We'll talk about Moolah. What I think about the Moolah Battle Royal and the stories. Yeah, we'll talk about Moolah here as far as that. Good job. Good job. Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels. Iron Man match. Good job. Let's see who got that right. That was Chris.
You want to be technical. You gotta also add
Jose Lothario, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, Jose Lothario. How long? Here's the bonus question. Here's the bonus question on that. How long did it go? How long? Precisely. Don't Google it or nothing. Precisely how long was the Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart Iron Man match from WrestleMania 12? Someone is saying Rude's going to turn heel. I'm okay with Bobby Roode being a babyface, and I've explained this before. This is why I like Bobby Roode as a babyface, especially leading into WrestleMania. Okay, first of all, he's going to get babyface chance with the glorious entrance anyways, and we'll get to as far as that their match at Fastlane and who got the bigger reaction here at the show. But yeah, I mean, he's going to get babyface. If he turns heel, he's going to get pops. So that doesn't make any sense for him to turn heel just to get cheered. And I'm really like critical of that. Don't turn someone heel so they'll get cheered. So they'll make the baby face. They won't put the baby face over. So don't do that. He's going to get his. I mean, if he's a good heel, but I've said this before. Wait until after WrestleMania, because at WrestleMania, New Orleans, they're going to deck it out. He's going to get all the glorious chants. He's going to get all the bells and whistles of the glorious entrance. So he's going to get that babyface reaction anyways. Let him be a babyface going into WrestleMania. If you want to turn him heel after WrestleMania, I'm totally cool with that. But at the same time, it's like, if you're going to turn him heel, make him heel. Get rid of the glorious song. Keep the robes. Keep the pompous attitude. But get rid of stuff that would make him automatically a babyface. And so the glorious entrance, the glorious song, that's a really catchy song that's, will get him over as a babyface. So I would be very, very critical of that. Next question. Who defeated Triple H at WrestleMania 12? Who defeated Triple H at WrestleMania 12? Or as William Regal would say, Triple H. Triple H. Who defeated Triple H? I can definitely understand. People saying he's not a good face. I don't agree. I think he's a good face. He's over. Okay, so I'm gonna actually skip to the Bobby Roode versus Randy Orton match, Fastlane. This is live. This is the live reaction from the crowd. Bobby Roode was over more than Randy Orton was, period. He was getting, when they were doing the boo yay type of punches thing, Roode was more over. There was Randy Orton got mostly babyface chants, but there was some very noticeable boos. So I mean, he's over. People saying an hour and 3 minutes. No. It was not an hour and 3 minutes. It was an hour, 1 minute and 52 seconds because Shawn Michaels won a few seconds before the 2 minute overtime. Remember the 2 minute overtime that Gorilla Monsoon came out, did the 2 minute overtime. I believe it was Gorilla Monsoon. I'm almost positive. Yeah, it was Gorilla Monsoon. It was Gorilla. Came out, did the 2 minute overtime, and Michaels pinned him 8 seconds before the time was up. So 61 minutes, 52 seconds was the outcome of that match. Very, very good match. Someone saying it, they thought it was too long, but I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic. It was definitely a trend-setting match. Let's see if we got the correct answer. Yes, we do have the correct answer. The Ultimate Warrior. Good job. Someone saying, calling it out, Daniel Bryan and Shane versus KO and Zayn. Yeah, I said that a long time ago. People weren't really believing me, but I think that would be a fantastic match for Mania. If Bryan's cleared and they have him in a tag match. I said that before, and people were doubting me when I said that, but you doubters, I got a word for you doubters. But yeah, I mean, I think that would be fantastic. I think that would be such a marquee match if they did that, cleared them. Yeah. I mean, it would be absolutely fantastic. And I think that, like you said, I mean, just watching SmackDown, I think the writing's on the wall. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, but it's definitely going to be a tag match. I think it's quite obvious, especially since they beat him up. Announcing that Daniel Bryan's going to be there next week, I don't know that would cause people to watch SmackDown or draw more people to SmackDown. And if it doesn't draw more people to SmackDown, you might as well just make it a surprise factor that he did that. I mean, just imagine the place erupting if they were trying to corner Shane McMahon next week. Shane McMahon cuts a promo. They can still do this. Shane McMahon cuts a promo, and then, it's so funny because last week I actually got a tweet on this. Last week I booked something. I said, do not bring Brock Lesnar. I said, do not. I was very adamant. I said, do not bring Brock Lesnar on Raw. And guess what happened? Someone's watching this podcast from the WWE because Brock Lesnar did not show on Raw. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, just like last week, I do it for you. That's right. Any day of the week, ladies and gentlemen, I do it for you. So yeah, that is one of my favorite things in the world now. Shinsuke and Rusev, Nakamura Rusev Day, the Nakamura Rusev Day. Like I said, I'm not the person who is really big into this Rusev Day thing. I think that Rusev Day is like the new age CM Punk chant. I don't think, Rusev is a great hand, fantastic athlete, but I don't really think I don't think that Rusev is over. I think the fans want to put themselves over, and do the whole Rusev Day thing. Real quick before we get your thoughts on that, Evan. Comment saying, the day Triple H takes over main roster from Vince is the day wrestling gets great again. Look at NXT at 205. Triple H gets it. Vince is out of touch. Someone saying Vince looks like he's 100. Crypt Keeper. What's with his red under his eyes? Well, here's the thing. Vince, the red under his eyes is because the guy, from what I've heard, he doesn't get any sleep, and he needs to get sleep, but he doesn't get any sleep. I don't agree with the whole Vince is out of touch thing. I mean, I understand that there's an evolution in professional wrestling, but at the end of the day, there has to be a balance. That's the reason why I think Vince and Triple H kind of run the creative process together is very good, because the NXT product is fantastic, but at the same time, people can criticize NXT for being a niche type of product, and which isn't a lot of it started to become like Velveteen Dream, Lars Sullivan, those are very Aleister Black, very character heavy people, which is great. That's what they need. And Vince still has the art of creating characters, and that's what wrestling's all about, man. I mean, you can have a wrestling clinic for 2 hours, but it doesn't mean nothing if there isn't any characters that people are pulling behind. So I don't want to say that he's out of touch. Maybe the fact that Triple H is by his side to help him with that creative process, I think that's a very good plus. And he's 72 years old. He definitely needs he definitely could use some assistance as far as staying with the times. And I think Triple H, who's more than 20 years younger than he is, would definitely help him with that.
I disagree. You gotta realize that wrestling business is still a business. It goes in a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Vince and Triple H, you need each other. Triple H is more wrestling. Look at NXT. NXT's cool as wrestling. But USA is not going to pay. You're not going to get sponsors.
Right. Right.
Just NXT with straight wrestling.
Exactly.
It doesn't make money. No offense, look at RH. Much as we love RH, much as we may love straight wrestling, it doesn't make money.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have entertainment. You have to. So you have Vince is a genius. He doesn't get sleep. Nash has told us before in the set of other shows. Vince gets maybe 3 or 4 hours of sleep, and that's it. He's a machine. And plus, Vince is going on 80. The man is not young. It's WWE fans, anybody listening, you gotta look at this. Yeah, and I had a lot of fans talk to this, but they know, and I can talk on face like you do, Southern Sona. Be incredible with our shows, being in the business of media, and knowing the boys and people that's in all of the promotions. WWE is not going anywhere.
No.
WWE is still making millions of dollars.
Yep.
WWE is still in the black. They're not losing money. So, and WWE itself is a juggernaut. There's so much more to WWE than what you see on TV.
Yeah, actually, last year was actually their most profitable year ever. So, yeah.
Exactly. So, we love the business. That stuff that goes on in WWE, we don't agree with. But Vince isn't out of touch. Vince is a marketing genius. He's entertainment. He's not necessarily the best wrestling person. That's why there's the Pat Patterson. That's why he had J.J. Dillon. That's why there's Triple H. You got to have that mix with the late Dusty Rhodes, Bruce Pritchard. You had to have that mix of people because Vince see it one way and then you add on to the other.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, just to add my point on that, Vince isn't out of touch. Vince is great at one thing, and if he's not good in it, he brings in the best that he knows to cover it up.
Yeah.
Monday Night Raw makes money, all they get is because of what you see. Same thing with SmackDown. They go full back with Rusev Day. I'm late with Rusev Day thing. It's the most over thing now on SmackDown. I get how it can be nauseating and annoying. The person that needs the Rusev Day the most is the English dude, Aiden English. Because when he came on at the Rumble, he got no pop. No one cared.
Well, he's not supposed to get a pop. That's the point. He cuts heel promos to make sure that Rusev doesn't get pops. That's what I don't like. He's a heel.
Right. But my thing is, even if you're a heel, when you come out for the Rumble, at least you get some reaction. He got none. Nobody clapped. Nobody sucked their teeth. So the person that needs Rusev Day the most is Aiden English.
Because he's not over.
Yeah, he's not over. But
Yeah.
I can see that where the Rusev Day is annoying, but hey, it forces WWE to give Rusev something to do.
Well, I wouldn't say force because there's been a few times that they've kept him under wraps, and he hasn't. Rusev he doesn't have an impressive win-loss record. He still loses quite a bit, unfortunately.
He doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't. But then there's some that say Rusev fell into the Cena curse. Whenever you got a big monster heel, you're doing okay. You say Cena at Mania, and then your career goes down. That's what a lot of people on WC say. You did it with Umaga, you did it with Rusev, they did
Wyatt.
Anyway, that's speculation and conspiracy. Yeah, Bray Wyatt, same thing.
Wade Barrett, Alex Riley, yeah. Ryback. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ryback and CM Punk, they both need hugs. They need very tight Barney hugs. That's what they need. Both of them. Yes, and I would be very happy. Yeah, I would be very happy to hug both Ryback and CM Punk. Yeah, and if we want a group hug for both of them, perfect. I'm all about it. Someone's saying Ryback was horrid. But if you have 15 writers, let them write. See, that's the problem. If you have 15 writers, see, that's the issue. I think from what I've heard, it's actually double that. It's actually about 30 writers now, which is terrible.
I would
I'll hug him. I'm big. I'm a big dude. I'll hug him. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does talk like he does. He does. He does.
I mean, I'm sorry to the fans, like you say, it's a lot of writers. But then that could also go into wrestling. We enjoyed it more when it was bookers. We had actual wrestlers
Mm-hmm.
that could help write a show. When it was this JJ or Bruce or a few people at Vince's house, where you had a few writers that can go, not to be funny, look at SmackDown. Look how SmackDown is ran. Because you had Road Dogg being a head writer, and look at the formula of SmackDown as opposed to Raw. Anyway, Nakamura, I'm not going to. I was been a fan of Nakamura for years, way before he went to WWE. And like you said, the Rusev Day thing, I'm like you. People chanting, I'm not going to put it on a CM Punk level. But
It's getting there. It's getting there for sure.
Right, it's like, okay, here we go.
Yeah. Real quick. Yeah, certainly. Someone saying for Finn Balor to lose the blue leather. I agree totally. We won't see the demon again, which and that's something else too. Not seeing the demon character on WrestleMania, that doesn't. What I don't understand how you wouldn't do that. I mean, hopefully they do, but it doesn't make sense if they don't do that on WrestleMania. Someone else is saying, Jamie's saying, is it me or did Shane being on Raw lose some of the Raw versus SmackDown flavor? I agree with that. Good observation. Ryan is saying WWE is going to Fox, which I hope they do because that would cut out an hour of their show. It would go back to a 2-hour show, which that would be fantastic, actually. People are hyped for John Cena and Undertaker. We'll talk about that in the Raw as far as my thoughts. Someone is saying CM Punk's going to go 0-2 in MMA. Going to get embarrassed in Chicago. He'll get a lot of Demon equals marketing sales. Very true, absolutely. And here's the thing with CM Punk, he'll get cheered like crazy in Chicago's hometown. However, someone saying, Luke saying CM Punk could be in the All-In show in Chicago. Not really. There was some teasing that he did with Young Bucks, but unfortunately, he's still under contract with UFC. So if Cody can talk to Dana White and have him appear on the All-In show, do it. Why not? Do it. Do it now. Do it for you. That's right, baby. I do it for you. Finn Balor with the blue jacket. Finn is bringing the BWO back. Yes, the
he looks just like a little kid running around with his dice.
He does.
Running around the kitchen.
Yeah.
Exactly how he looked with his tight.
Mm-hmm.
No demon earlier. I'm telling you. First of all, we didn't see the man versus man match. You didn't see my Bray Wyatt.
Oh, I'm so glad we didn't. I'm so glad we didn't see that. Yeah.
But we did get to see that House of Horrors match between Bray and Orton, which I'm just it's budget cuts.
Yeah.
Use that Fastlane. There's so much stuff budget cuts. Becky Lynch thing with her steam punk gear.
Yeah, that was odd. That was odd. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Absolutely. The tag team match was, Usos and New Day were over. And I think that the New Day and Usos, I was really excited about that more than anything. I was very excited about that. I knew the Bludgeon Brothers was going to come out, so I mean, it just kind of spoiled it. It was a buzzkill, but it was good while it lasted. I mean, they were stealing each other's moves, which I loved. It reminded me back of Vengeance 2002, I think it was, with the triple threat between Taker, Rock, and Angle. Probably the best triple threat match I've ever seen in my life. I think it was Vengeance 2002, July of 2002, if I'm not mistaken. Let me make sure of that. I think it was Vengeance 2002. I think it was. Vengeance 2002 was Jericho Cena too. I think Jericho just randomly put over Cena, which from then on I didn't like. July 21st, 2000. Speaking of Detroit, it was in Joe Louis Arena, Detroit. July 21st, 2002. Let's see. John Cena beat Chris Jericho, 6 minutes and 21 seconds. Isn't that a good, solid card, though, man? I mean, 2002, Dudley Boyz defeating Benoit and Guerrero in an elimination tables match. That was 15 minutes. Jamie Notable with Nidia beat Billy Kidman. Hardy beat Noble retained the Cruiserweight Championship. Hardy defeated William Regal for to retain the European Championship. Then that Cena versus Jericho. Nobody, that's we don't want to remember that. RVD defeated Brock Lesnar by disqualification to retain the Intercontinental Championship. Booker T defeated the Big Show in a no disqualification match, and after he won, he said, "I'd do it for you." The Un-Americans defeated Edge and Hulk Hogan to win the tag team championships. Wow, I mean, solid card, man. And then Rock defeating Angle and Taker to win the Undisputed Championship. Wow. And then Rock will lose the title the next month to Brock Lesnar. Wow, what a solid card, man.
The funny thing is that, ironically, the Chicago gave Vengeance was a triple threat match again. It was Angle, Big Show. Was it triple threat? It was a triple threat. It was Black, Angle, and Big Show, I believe, in the triple threat. The Chicago gave was another triple threat match, which was really good. But OT was OT and 03 was some of the best years.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Vengeance of 03 was, let's see, you had, Eddie Guerrero beating Chris Benoit to win the U.S. title. Jamie Noble with Nidia again, beating Billy Gunn with Tori Wilson. Very interesting. Invitational, APA Invitational Barroom Brawl. Where was this at? Let's see. This was in Denver. Okay. Bradshaw winning by eliminating Brother Love. Very interesting. In an APA Invitational Barroom Brawl. Only lasted 4.5 minutes. World's Greatest Tag Team defeating Billy Kidman and Rey Mysterio. Yeah, that was true. They had a very, back then in 03, the Filthy Animals reconnected on WWE. Sable defeating Steffi. Oh, interesting. That's right. Sable defeating Stephanie McMahon in a no countout match. Taker beats Cena. I do remember that. Mr. McMahon beating Zach Gowen. That lasted almost 15 minutes. And then Angle defeating Brock Lesnar and Big Show in a triple threat match. So that was a good card too. Man, I miss those years. I really miss those really amazing cards. I really do. Let's see if we got comments here. I like Filthy Animals. Bludgeon Brothers with a dumb name. I agree. Someone saying 97 to 99 was the best time in wrestling. Someone's calling Gowen a one-leg scrub. 97, 99. See, I was a bigger fan of Ruthless Aggression than Attitude Era. I was a bigger fan. Yeah. Ruthless Aggression 01 to 04. I was a bigger fan. Yep.
1987 to 91. It's the tag teams, the single matches, the NWA and WWF.
Mm-hmm.
87 and 91, just the time period was just, I say 87 to 91, and like you said, the Ruthless Aggression era, I would say 01 to about 03, early 04 would be the best period.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Ruthless Aggression, man. I think the quality of work. See, the thing is, Ruthless Aggression reminds me a lot of today, but with better characters and storylines. Like, it was just I mean, the quality of wrestling was fantastic. I mean, the Brock Angle matches, even Big Show was a good, Guerrero, Benoit, as a wrestler, Benoit, Mysterio, Edge, Jericho, Booker, Mysterio. I mean, it was just so many good wrestlers at that time. Someone saying, say that in your puke Vince voice, he's gonna puke. On the spot. All right, next trivia question, ladies and gentlemen. What type of match was Ahmed Johnson and LOD versus Nation of Domination at WrestleMania 13? What type of match was Ahmed Johnson and LOD versus Nation of Domination at WrestleMania 13? Real quick, Fastlane thoughts. People were really into the main event match. Main event match was a very solid match. I agree that it was great. I think it was really good. I think everybody had their spot. Everybody looked good. There were some people around me that was criticizing the opener when Cena AA'd everybody except for Styles. I said, you know what? Cena just buried 4 wrestlers in 5 seconds. There, that's a big match, John, right there. Burying 4 wrestlers in 5 seconds, man. What a shame that opened the show, but they opened the match. But other than that, it was pretty good. It was a really solid pay-per-view. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I haven't missed a televised WWE pay-per-view or wrestling event, a live televised WWE event in almost 20 years. I've been to all of them here that comes to my hometown, Columbus, Ohio. So, yeah, I mean, and this was good. There was some low points, of course, but I wasn't expecting Fastlane to be a perfect pay-per-view. It was a good filler pay-per-view. It was a good bridge into Mania, so it was pretty good. So as far as just the headlines, we talked about some salaries. Check out my article on the salaries of every current WWE superstar. Type in salaries WWE Chris Featherstone, and you'll see it. Some interesting things. Ronda Rousey. I think they had to send like a document to the Securities Exchange. Security and Exchange Commission or whatever, and it had all their salaries on there. So apparently Rousey's coming in at $1.5 million. So quite interesting because she's making leaps and bounds more than the top wrestler. I think Bayley's at 300. I think the Bellas are at 300. Let's look at these. Look at these salaries real quick as far as and then Ryback kept making his argument that everybody should make the same, which was weird. Cena's making $8.5 million. Reigns making $5 million. AJ's only making $2 million, so that's an argument. AJ's at $2 million and Reigns is at 2.5 times more than he is, but Reigns has been there longer. He's main evented more. I don't think there's much of a argument. Now, there is an argument that AJ Styles makes the same amount of money as Dean Ambrose. Yeah, that's a bit odd. Miz is at $2.5 million. Rollins at $3 million. Sheamus is at $1 million. Jeff Hardy's is at $1 million. I'm just going to talk about the millionaires. I guess Big Show's at $850, but Orton's at $4.5 million. Jinder's almost there, 900,000, and which is sad too because Goldust is only at 400,000, and he's been there for over 20 years, 23 years, off and on. He's making $400,000. I mean, which is still an amazing amount. But you have Goldust making $400,000 and Sin Cara making almost double, making $700,000. Sin Cara makes $700,000, ladies and gentlemen. Sin Cara, $700,000 for being on Main Event. What in the world is going on? Chicago Street Fight. There you go. Good job. Chicago Street Fight. But wow. Sin Cara, ladies and gentlemen. $700,000. Bray Wyatt making $1 million a year. That was very surprising to me. Now you have like Braun Strowman is only at $300,000 right now a year. I'm sure that'll jump up coming close of 2018, but he makes the same as Bo Dallas and Apollo. So Samoa Joe's at 800,000, Scott Dawson's at 250, Undertaker's at 2 million, Kane's at 900,000, and Kane, I guess since he's only a part timer now, that makes sense. But it seemed like he would make more too because he's been there over 20 years. Cesaro's at 500,000, Luke Gallows only at 250,000 compared to everybody else. That's quite low. Cass makes the same as Luke Gallows. Kalisto's at $350,000, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man! So WWE is like, how it is like when you go to a job and like the Spanish speakers make more money just because they can speak Spanish. I think that's how it is with Kalisto and Sin Cara. Like, hey, Sin Cara, let's just let's just have you boost the Hispanic community, and so you're going to make $700,000, almost $750,000, just because you're Sin Cara. I mean, I that is, to me, if that number is true, it is astonishing to me. Mike Kanellis makes one of the lowest amounts at $200,000 as far as the guys are concerned. Usos are at 250, which it seemed like they would make more than a Big E is at 500. Fandango 400,000. Epico 200,000. R-Truth 550,000. Kofi Kingston is at $500,000 a year. Yeah. So I mean, which is good. I mean, Kofi makes a lot. He's been there for a while. Zack Ryder's at 400,000. Victor's at 250. And then the women, I mean, when I wrote this article, I got a lot of people who were criticizing just the huge difference, the huge gap difference. Nia Jax only makes $100,000 a year. Mandy Rose makes $80,000. I mean, granted, she just came up to the main roster. Dana Brooks at $200,000 a year. Wow. She makes the same amount as Bayley. That is astonishing to me. And we for being a less than good wrestler and a valet for Titus Worldwide, $200,000. Sonya Deville's making more than Mandy Rose, $100,000. Becky Lynch is at $250,000. Summer Rae, before she got released, was a little over $120,000. Carmella's only making $120,000, which is crazy. Lana's making $200,000 a year, ladies and gentlemen. Lana, a valet and someone who barely wrestles, $200,000 a year. And Naomi's making $180,000, which I'm okay with that. She's one of the top. I think she should make more, actually. Same thing with Bayley and Sasha. Liv Morgan makes $75,000 a year. That is incredible to me. Yeah, wow, $75,000 a year. Yeah, well, Brock Lesnar, in addition to his $10 million, he makes $100,000 in merchandise a year too, I believe. So he is bringing in the big wigs. Someone saying that lowball and AJ, $4.5 million for doing nothing. People, yeah, they play Goldust. I agree. Yeah, people are surprised about Sin Cara. So Taker gets $2 million for one match a year. That's a good point. Usos at $250K, horribly underpaid. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Can't be mad at Taker. Anybody that's a legend in the business that paved the way, people like that deserve to just get paid for this. Like the Michaels, and can't be mad at that. If anybody wants a job and has been the staple for a company for over 20-something years, hey, I get paid.
Yeah. Speaking of pay, Luke is talking about Dolph Ziggler when he resigned. He's like, "Pin me, pay me." Job Squad member for $1.5 million a year. Ascension making the same as the Usos. Yeah, that's crazy to me. Talk about disparity in pay for female versus male. I agree. I don't know. I think the big argument is, does those females make the same as males? Which no, because they don't draw as much. But I would say people like Charlotte, people like Asuka, people like Bayley, Sasha. I think they should be up there with the guys. I think they should be making. They draw. They're huge, especially Charlotte and Sasha. They main evented pay-per-views last year. I think Charlotte and Sasha Banks should be making millions a year. To me, I think they should be compared to the guys. Someone else is saying Charlotte and Sasha should. Liv makes the same as me, and I don't have to travel or take bumps. Good point. Good point. Someone saying, "Wow, Lana, $250K, never in the ring." Someone's agreeing that what I said, Charlotte and Sasha should make multi-millions. I think that they should be on the level playing field with the guys, hands down. I think Asuka should be that way as well. Not particularly right now, but I think within probably the end of the year, going into 2018, I think that for sure she should be with the guys. But as far as right now is concerned, Charlotte and Sasha should be in the $1 million club for sure. All right, real quick. All right, so just Scott Hall and Scott Hall. I wrote about this. There was a tweet that he called British Bulldog and Lex Luger failed singles wrestlers when someone sent a tweet of Allied Powers, which I don't agree with that. I think both Bulldog and Luger should be. I think Scott was bitter. I actually spoke to. Scott Hall got in a heated exchange with Bulldog's daughter Georgia, and actually reached out to Georgia and chatted with Georgia and did a write up on it. That the was deleted because Georgia said that the tweet was deleted because they chat about it all away and caused the tweet to be deleted. Scott Hall, man, I think it's, speaking of Scott Hall, just the going back to Jeff Hardy's, he was arrested this weekend, man, and my prayers are for Scott and Jeff as well, because it's like, man, it's I don't know if he was any type of addiction or anything caused him to make a comment like that, because it's just incorrect. Both Luger and Bulldog, both of them, hands down, in my opinion, deserve to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. Hands down. And if you want to be technical, Luger actually had a better singles career than Scott Hall. Scott Hall never won a world championship. So, yeah, absolutely.
some of the boys weren't necessarily fans and Luger's work.
Mm-hmm.
But Luger was a power wrestler.
Yep.
Luger was deep in the ring. And Luger has main evented multiple
Yep.
pay-per-views in WCW, NWA, and in WWF.
Mm-hmm.
He, you know, when it gets Hogan, West, Sting, Flair,
Co-won the 94 Royal Rumble.
Now he co-won the 94 Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's one of the few people doing Hogan's NWO run besides Bulldog and Sting to actually defeat Hogan for the title.
Right. Yep.
You know, Savage, and you want to get Stan Hansen. Come on, like I said, I hope this.
Longest U.S. champ ever, over 500 days.
Yeah, longest U.S. champion.
Yep.
Come on, man. See what you want to get Luger. Luger had a successful team.
Yep.
He's had decent, pretty good matches with everybody who's been in the ring. The exception is Stan Hansen. The Stan Hansen style was the splash round.
Yeah. Or you can no sell like Brody did against them. Yeah, that Brody no sell. Yeah. Ow! Yeah, he did. Yes, Luger sold the heck out of Muda's Miss. That is for sure. I think it was like the round robin that they had in the WCW. Let's see. It looks like Great American Bash. No, Great Thirst, Great Muda. Yeah, they had like a round robin or some type of tournament. Maybe the Crockett Cup, perhaps. Winner gets a title shot. That was 99. No, let's see. 99. Yeah, I'm looking at something that says 99. Yeah, it seemed like it. Yeah, it was. All right, I see 91 Clash of the Champions. June 14th, 1991. Yeah. Yeah, very, very interesting. Man, those cards. I really do miss those cards. Luger should have won the title at WrestleMania 10. Someone saying Pillman should be in the Hall of Fame. Bulldog. This year's Hall of Fame inductees is a hodgepodge mess. Real quick, let's get to a different trivia question here. Who did The Undertaker defeat at WrestleMania 12? Who did The Undertaker defeat at WrestleMania 12? So Rey Mysterio, the injury that he had was a lot better than expected, but there was some false claims that he was going to fight Cena at WrestleMania, which no, that wasn't the case. That's not the case. We saw on Raw, which we saw on Raw what it's going to be. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, milk it. I'm okay with it. I see. Here's the thing, and we're about to get to Raw here in a minute. I'll wait to do my rant on Taker. But I don't want to see Mysterio Cena. And I think that Mysterio should be like I think he should be like a part timer. I think he should just make just random kind of pop-up appearances, because if we see too much of Mysterio, it'll get back to how it was before he left. Nobody cared about Mysterio. He was teaming with Kalisto, and he was just kind of like a non-factor. If we see too much of Mysterio, I think he'll get back to that. People just won't care. So those pop-up appearances, yeah. I mean, we'll just don't overuse Mysterio. All right, so real quick, Evan, what are your thoughts on Raw and SmackDown?
SmackDown first. Jinder Mahal That's the wonder of the world. It was so crazy. He walks to the ring looks one way, he leaves looks the other. I know that's your boy Featherstone.
Not at all.
I will say this. I like the ending.
Yeah.
Maybe I think too hard. I feel like Shane did add realism. Some wrestlers that don't really matter, so they came out and tried to help Shane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, guys. Like, Shane didn't beat up. He was commissioner. No one came out to help.
Right.
He had downloadable staff members standing there looking. It's like, who are these people?
Yeah.
Shout out to Todd Dillinger who was caught on camera. He was disappeared in the curtain. He didn't try to help Shane.
That was actually Mike Kanellis.
Shout out to Shane. Was it Mike Kanellis?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Mike Kanellis, he's sitting there, so he decides to do a ninja vanish.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Shane, man, for taking that bump on, I don't know if that was a ladder,
Mm-hmm.
or that was some kind of battle, you know.
Yeah.
Then like he ordered down with someone, get away. It's like, the segment was good. I just feel like more realism should have been done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Having people come out. Overall, I thought SmackDown was okay. Orton, words, I like words. I think he's well. I just feel Orton is like, what are you? You know, you're just there. You're the U.S. champ. You've been there for 16 years.
Uncle Randy.
U.S. championship. Yeah, but overall, I thought SmackDown was okay. It did its part. Raw was decent. I love the fact that Reigns actually went into Gorilla. We got to see, the Gorilla, which we don't see as often, and him going at the events. I did enjoy that. I don't get the whole no showing about Braun. He's been part-time since he's been back in 2012. Like, can we do something new? Come on now. I mean, it wasn't an issue when he went against Joe. It was an issue when he went against Strowman, but it's an issue now. Like, it gets old. We get Brock's part-time. Get the Yahoo. Try, you know what I mean? Try something else.
It's working to an extent though, because I think that especially when Reigns cut the promo a couple weeks ago. I mean, he turned the crowd around, and I think the fact that because when he came up and he showed up and beat Kane in 35 seconds, he was in Chicago, they cheered him, and then when he beat him in 35 seconds, they booed him, and then he beat The Miz in like less than a minute at another house show. So I personally, I like the angle where they're going as far as just him being like, I don't care about the business. And I think it's just kind of putting light to it because first it was like, oh, he's an anomaly. He, makes appearances every now and then, which both you and I agree that, making those, kind of sporadic appearances actually helps a character because that's what champions used to do all the time in the 80s and early 90s. But to play it in a way of saying, I don't care about the fans. I don't care about the company. I just want the money, especially when Reigns was talking about taking a picture with Dana White. I mean, it really struck a chord with the crowd. And the fact that, he said that, he wasn't there. The fact that Angle said, that Lesnar wasn't there. I called it last week in my show. I said that's exactly what they should do. They should not have Brock Lesnar there. They didn't, and the fans reacted to it positively. I mean, even if they have, even for now, even if they're trying their best to make Reigns over, for now it's working because the fans, are slowly turning the corner as far as like, I can't dispute the fact that Lesnar, I mean, we've seen, he kind of just, clocks in and just phones it in all the time. I mean, we saw that with Ambrose, was that 32 that he went against Ambrose in Dallas? Yeah. And it's like, you could tell yeah. I mean, but especially Ambrose, and even Ambrose said that, on Austin's podcast that he was trying to throw ideas out and, he didn't have anything. I mean, like, Lesnar was just kind of shooting all of them down. So, I mean, you can tell. Diesel is the correct answer. You know what would be awesome, though? If they actually showed that from the Austin podcast of Ambrose saying that Lesnar was kind of shooting his ideas down. If they showed that, just to kind of freshen our memories, that would be absolutely fantastic. Next question. Here we go. Who did Stone Cold Steve Austin defeat at WrestleMania 12? So yeah, that's my take. Yeah, go ahead.
The main event was different, Strowman, going against the bar by himself. That was something a little different. It's Strowman. You want to give him something to against the Bucks. It's this Cena going around crying and moping and groaning, sniffing and snotting and acting like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. And, I'm calling out for Taker. It's like, Taker, you're not doing anything. Come out. Instead of you just, your wife just posted an Instagram video of you working out.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything. To me, it's like we'll get Mania live. It's like Mania is about 3 to 4 weeks away, and yet we still have no confirmation, air quote, if Taker is going to face Cena. And I feel, why are you waiting? Are you going to wait to the go home segment of Raw? Are we going to wait to SmackDown and see his air quote still a free agent? It's like, come on, guys. Take a shot at the graveyard again. Something. Turn out like off in your bedroom and do a segment from there. It's like, I don't know. To me, they're taking too long. Reagan is out. Take your answer, Cena, so we can start doing a promo. Because by the time we done, that could be 3 weeks of Mania. And take his storyline. Normally would take a while to build. We started Survivor Series even at least a month ago.
Well, to an extent though, because I think that's how it was with the Bray deal. Like Bray, he didn't show up until I think it was Mania. He actually didn't show up until then. Personally, I mean, first of all, I don't want to see Taker at all. So I don't remember. He may have done one. I mean, we still got 3 weeks left before Mania. I mean, I'm sure Taker will pop up, on Raw. But I mean, to be honest with you personally, I'm totally fine with Taker not showing up. I mean, I'm sure he'll show up probably Raw before Mania. I don't want to see. I don't want to view my Raw airtime of The Undertaker and John Cena. The match speaks for itself. There's no need for a build. There's no need for some big old exciting, moment or anything like that. Some big suspense. The match speaks for itself. Cena's trying to, I do think Cena creating a path to WrestleMania is kind of cheesy because he can be in the Andre Battle Royal. So, I mean, you'll have a path to WrestleMania. The promo was good, and the promo was good. Cena's a very, very good talker. But saying, I'll be with the fans, I think that was a bit cheesy. And then kind of humanizing Taker to me, I wasn't the biggest fan of that either. But at the same time, Cena knows how to cut a promo. Cena is the man when it comes to promos. And I think, Nia Jax, it looks like they're going to make her a face. I think the suspense with her and Alexa Bliss is interesting. I'm glad that they're doing that. And it's so funny. The 3 biggest segments of Raw were Roman, which was really good, going to Gorilla, Nia Jackson Bliss, where they did the whole GTV type deal, and then the other big segment was the Angle. What was the other big segment? The preview of the deletion. The Angle, so that was Roman Reigns. and then the Cena. So Cena, Bliss, and Reigns. It's funny because those are the three biggest angles of Raw. None of them were wrestling matches. And that's the point of the importance of characters and storyline development and how it used to be. And you know, from a match quality perspective overall, I think Ruthless Aggression was much better than Attitude Era. But kudos to Attitude Era. People, crap on Vince Russo as much as you want. I've had him on my show before. I've talked to him plenty of times. I have my critiques, but at the same time, there was some compelling television, and the storylines, the intensity of it, the excitement, the ability to draw me to want to come next week. The cliffhanger, especially with Nitro, Russo didn't write Nitro, but when they were competing with, yeah, exactly, Siobhan, we've got to go. We're out of time. I loved it. Right, and then Heenan would be like, no. And just the cliffhangers, the riveting storylines. A lot of that was NWO. When Sting would come down, people would be excited about Sting. And Sting coming down the rafters had nothing to do with the wrestling match. And it goes to show you can try to reinvent the wheel as much as you want. Right. It was a year that he didn't have a match. And it just goes to show, even in 2018, the three biggest things on Raw leading into WrestleMania did not have anything to do with an actual wrestling match. So you can try to make, try to reinvent as much as you want. But at the end of the day, is going to be storylines. There's going to be storylines. Let's see. There's a bunch of stuff going on. Yes, good job. Stone Cold defeated Savio Vega. It's been about 2 or 3 weeks. Been about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think it was actually right after it was right after Elimination Chamber when Alexa Bliss came out and did the promo. She came out with it. Oh, that real quick. Yeah. Yeah, the time that's for the sake of time, I'm just going to say this. That tag team match was a bust, and I do not like the fact, and this is going into SmackDown real quick before we get into the flavor of the week. The fact that Naomi's just losing matches like out the wazoo now, I am not a fan of that at all. I think that is a terrible call. I'm not a fan of that at all. Build her up. I mean, Charlotte's the person right now. Charlotte Asuka, I understand. And it's funny because Ruby Riott didn't even show up on SmackDown unless I missed it or fast forwarding or something like that. And she was in the title match, on Sunday. So that doesn't make sense. I like the triple threat. I like Rude. Orton, and Jinder. I think Orton in the U.S. title picture, I'm a fan of it because I think it elevates the championship. It makes people like Bobby Roode and Jinder Mahal are two perfect people who would benefit as far as being mid-card stars, rising up in the WWE. And Orton being like the catalyst there to help them, make that move. I'm okay with it. Bludgeon Brothers, I'm not a fan of them. I like Harp and Rowan, but this Bludgeon Brothers gimmick is terrible. And plus, I really want to see New Day Usos. One team versus one team. I think. We had a little taste of it, on Fastlane. It was fantastic, but adding the Bludgeon Brothers, I'm not a fan of. And then Shane McMahon, I think the last match, the last segment, I think it was good. There was another report that I actually wrote about and reported bodyslam.net or something like that. I think the guy who reported the XFL, who broke that, I think he said something about Dolph Ziggler going against Shane McMahon at Mania, doing his whole I haven't had a independent match at WrestleMania. So it doesn't look like that's going to be true, but it does seem like it clearly seems like Shane McMahon's going to be involved with Owens and Zayn. I did like that. I did like that segment at the end. I think it was a good call. It made me excited to watch Mania, and I think it was well done. All right, we got a couple more trivia questions for you. Who won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 13? Who won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 13? All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time real quick. Let's do it. Let's do it. Do it now. Flavor of the week, I do it for you.
It is now time for the flavor of the week.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, title changes from WrestleMania 1 to WrestleMania 6. I'm going to say all of them, and we'll talk about, for about 5 minutes or so, we'll talk about our favorite ones. So I wrote them all down here. WrestleMania 1, so Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov defeating the U.S. Express for the Tag Team Championship. Also, Wendy Richter defeating Leilani Kai with the Fabulous Moolah. Real quick on, yes, The Undertaker. Good job. Good job, Undertaker. All right, real quick. Here's the next question. What was the WWE Tag Team Championship match at WrestleMania 13? Moolah. To research there's an interesting article on Fabulous Moolah. There's a few of them out here now as what she did. A lot of people not happy with honoring the Fabulous Moolah based on some past things that she did as far as just pimping people out and getting money and just how she treated women's wrestlers. Google that, and a lot of people are not happy that they're honoring her. So WrestleMania 2, British Bulldogs defeating the Dream Team of Brutus Beefcake and Greg Valentine, winning the WWE Tag Team Championship. WrestleMania 3, Steamboat defeating Savage, Intercontinental Championship, fantastic match. WrestleMania 4, Demolition defeating Strikeforce to win a Tag Team Championship, and Randy Savage defeating Ted DiBiase in the tournament finals to win the WWE Championship. WrestleMania 5, we saw Rick Rude defeating Ultimate Warrior to win the Intercontinental Championship. Hulk Hogan defeating Randy Savage. Mega Powers Explode, WWE Championship. Good job. Owen and Bulldog against Vader and Mankind. Fantastic job. WrestleMania 6, Demolition defeating the Colossal Connection to win the Tag Team Championships, and Ultimate Warrior defeating Hulk Hogan to win the WWE Championship. Give me 2 or 3 that sticks out to you in those first 6 Manias. The Ultimate Warrior.
Hogan was started that match, so iconic match. His secret powers, no pun intended, and for defeating Hogan. Hogan losing was very, very back then. I definitely feel that something like that, like you said, Hogan giving Warrior the title, and Warrior standing there with the IC belt and that world belt.
Yep.
The second, of course, Savage against Steamboat. Great match, WrestleMania 3. The best match of the card, just back and forth, and Inside Crater wins it. Definitely Inside Crater wins it. So, and then on the start, definitely forgot Demolition with a tag title 3 WrestleManias in a row.
Yep.
But Demolition defeats Strikeforce. I'll put it up there. My number 3.
Mm-hmm. Well, 4 and then 6. Yeah, 2 out of the 3 WrestleManias. Andre documentary HBO would be great. I agree. Yeah, so mine, as far as the ones to stick out, definitely Steamboat Savage. That's probably number one for me. As far as the first 6 years, that is one of the greatest matches of all time. I can watch that match over and over again. And of course, right up there is Warrior and Hogan. Hogan and Savage, Mega Powers Explode. I love that. I love the story that was with that. I was just listening to one of my favorite promos is when Savage was calling Hulk Hogan a hot. I see you hot dogging and grandstanding here, and I hate you, Hulk Hogan. It was his WrestleMania 5 was absolutely amazing. Someone saying Warrior beating Hulk and 6 shocked me. I was busting tables at Chili's and saw it on the news. Oh, nice. I went to my school bus the next day, and we were talking about that. I was actually pulling for Warrior. I was a Hogan fan. I wasn't a huge Hogan fan, but I was definitely a Hogan fan. But I wanted Warrior to win for some reason. He did, and I marked out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, fantastic show as always. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Big announcement. Next week, we're going to have Rosa Mendez on the show. Rosa Mendez will be on the show next week to talk some stuff. So I'm really excited to have Rosa Mendez. Should be a fantastic interview, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin Sullivan on the show tonight, so be sure to download the audio to check out Kevin Sullivan on the first part of the show. Of course, subscribe to iTunes. Leave a wonderful remark. As far as following me on Twitter, Chris Prolific, at Chris Prolific, and of course, follow Crave Wrestling on Twitter for the Pancakes and Powerslams show. Follow my boy Evan Prout on Twitter at tech_UTMR for Under the Mat Radio Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, we are 3 weeks away to WrestleMania, and we will continue to give you some information about the Pancakes and Powerslams show. Doing some fantastic coverage again, and we're going to have some fun. So be sure to stay tuned as far as what we're going to do, where we're going to go. And until next week, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a blast. So thank you so much for all of the wonderful interaction through the Wrestling Inc. Facebook Live. And, of course, catch this on the Wrestling Inc. YouTube page. It will be airing up here shortly within the next day or so. Thank you so much for your support as always. 311 episodes of the Pancakes and Powerslams show, and we are continuing to get stronger and stronger and stronger. Thank you so much for all your support. For 311 episodes, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Under the Mat Radio, Evan Tech Proud, I am Chris Featherstone. Follow the Pancakes and Powerslams show at Crave Wrestling. Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your week of wrestling. God bless. And always remember, I do it for you. Have a good night. Bye-bye.